welcome back to my world of stuff. My name is Paul Mount and you're very welcome to another pickups video. New bits and pieces I've collected in the last few days actually. I know I only did one last week, but that was sort of 4 weeks worth of bits and pieces I think. But I had quite a few bits the last few days, so I thought I'd do another short video, only about 5 minutes, just to show you the stuff I've had, stuff that I've bought. Mainly internet purchases, eBay purchases, just a few different bits and pieces of a geeky nature, which you might be interested in. You never know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. My subscriber's just stuck. In fact, I've lost a subscriber. I don't know where he or she's gone. Just disappeared. I'm going to send out a search party, but they've gone. They've vanished. So if you know they are, go and get them back. And if you've stumbled across this video and you think, what's this idiot talking about? Like and subscribe. Leave a comment, share, and all that sort of, the usual internet stuff. Right, and just kind of a quick swig of my diet drink. Other diet drinks are available, of course. So here's the new stuff that I bought this week. Right, we may have a visitor. I just had to pause the recording to open the door because the cat is lurking, and here she comes. Apologies. Rosie, get your big tail out of the way. Right. Yeah, new stuff I've got this last few days, whether it's stuff that I've got from eBay, which has arrived, things that I've ordered from Zavvi and various other places, plus a couple of slightly unusual cult genre things. Anyway, I'll stop rabbiting. First thing I bought, you've already seen this because I've done a video on it, is Galaxy 4, the new Doctor Who 2-disc Blu-ray animation. If you want to know what I thought of it, check out the video, which... check out the video, which should be up by now. I got a few videos lined up, ready to go. So if you want to know what I thought of this, you'll need to check out that video and like and subscribe. A couple of other Blu-rays that have arrived this week. This arrived, there's a long story about this. I won't go into the tedious detail about it, but this arrived. I bought this in the Warner Brothers shop. It's the Suicide Squad rather than Suicide Squad. This is James Gunn's take on DC's Maverick band of rebel superheroes. I really enjoyed this. For the back, there is a video, cinema trip video on the Suicide. I mustn't say Suicide Squad because that was the original ropey one. This is the Suicide Squad. The really good madcap, no holds barred superhero action flick. So see what the cat's doing. Didn't do very well at the box office, which is a shame. So there won't be a sequel, I wouldn't imagine. But it's a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I'll just show you the disc. I haven't opened it yet. It's got a very nice slip cover with an image of the Suicide Squad looking very angry, running towards camera. On the back, you get a description of the film, some more images, nice little picture of Peter Capaldi at the top there, and description of the disc and all the special features, and so on. I will open it up with my murder scissors. I hope you do realise that it's not really a murder scissors. I just call it that for comic effect. So I will rip open the cellophane packaging. I didn't know I was going to do this video until today when a few things came in the post, and I thought, well, let's do a quick vid. And I meant to open this. This came yesterday, and I meant to open it yesterday to get around to it. So now seems like as good a time as any to do it. So there we are, Suicide Squad. The disc with the, again, obviously the same front and back. Open it up. As it's a 2-disc set, it's the 4K disc and the Blu-ray. Nice sort of cover art, the sort of disc art, star effect, and just a traditional blue Blu-ray. And there's a little insert in here, which I imagine, yeah, it's just stuff about upcoming DC film releases. That's the Suicide Squad. I'm quite looking forward to seeing that again. It's probably going to be a weekend cinema room watch, because I think it should look rather good up there. That's the Suicide Squad. This arrived today. It's of course the latest from Marvel, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Of course, one of the big hits of the summer, the post-pandemic cinema. Took about 500,000 at the box office. The frustrating thing, of course, with the pandemic and so on, is that this would probably take close to $1 billion in normal times. But expectations are slightly different now in the pandemic era, and it's done very well reviewed, and I love it. It's a great film. Again, there's a video for it. I've done loads of stuff. If you're new here, I've done loads of stuff. So check back through my channel and just stop and take a look at all the different bits and pieces that I've done. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this, but you may recall that I did think the second half drifted a bit into sort of fantasy territory that didn't sit all that well with the first half, which was a bit grittier and more realistic, but a great time, really good experience, really good performances, and looking forward to seeing more of Shang-Chi in the MCU again. Comes with its slipcover, which is a very nice sort of, I don't know what you call it exactly, with sort of spot gloss and that sort of slightly raised thing on the rings, which is really good. It's got a really nice cover on the back. Of course, you get the description of the film, the special features, which include family ties, building a legacy gag reel, deleted scenes and commentary. I mean, you know, the glory days of great special features on physical media are gone now. Really, we just get the perfunctory stuff, but it's always worth a look. Again, this only came today when I was out, so I'm just opening it up now, and there it is, again with a nice black 4K cover. Inside, we get the 4K disc with a nice image of Shang-Chi himself, and the Blu-ray, which has got the 10 rings. So yeah, the latest in my Marvel 4K set. I've got all the Marvel films on 4K now. And of course, as you probably know, Disney Plus are now streaming many of the Marvel films in enhanced IMAX. And I actually watched Iron Man on the weekend to see what it looked like on 4K. And what a fantastic film that still is, considering it was 2008 and it was the beginning of the MCU as we know it. Incredibly confident and bold, ballsy film. It's as if they knew from that point exactly what they wanted to do. And of course, the terrorist organisation that Tony Stark is captured by, in the very first scene, we discover is the Ten Rings, which is the organisation that we finally meet in this film. And it just makes you realise how well versed people working in the MCU are in the history of the MCU. Now, whether they planned to bring the Ten Rings in at some point much later down the line, I don't know, but they were conscious that existed and seeded it there, and that's paid off in this film. It's just, that's what I love about the MCU. It's so tightly sort of wound together. Right, other things I had. Fans of cult TV and cult entertainment might be interested in a couple of packages I received on the weekend. Now, if you're of a certain age, you'll remember the 1960s with ITC, Lord Lou Grade and so on, created these extraordinary and filmed adventure series that were sold all around the world. Things like The Champions and Randall Hopkirk, the original Saint series, The Baron, these really larger-than-life adventure series that were sort of years ahead of the time, and I suppose they're a little bit dated now in terms of their diversity and their representation, all those sorts of issues. But they were just good, solid, unpretentious adventure stories, and they were created by ITC, who sadly long since ceased to exist. But they have a massive band of supporters. There are people who remember these shows and continue to publicise them and talk about them. And there's actually a podcast which is called ITC Entertain the World, which is hosted by a chap called Jazz Wiseman. And now I've listened to a few episodes. That's really good, very in depth, which is so enjoyable if you remember that particular era of TV. But he's now moved on to doing a magazine, a very lavish fan magazine, the first issue of which is called ITC Entertain the World. I'm not going to say it's a niche interest, but it's certainly of interest to people who remember these great days of television. It's a really nice, lavish, sort of full colour and fully illustrated magazine, looking at many of these shows. This first issue, unusually, sort of focuses quite a lot on a show called Gideon's Way, which was a fairly traditional but quite groundbreaking cop show from the early 1960s, which starred an actor called John Gregson, who some of you might remember from the classic Genevieve film in the 1950s. He played, the character was created by John Creasy, and this was a series that ran for, I'm not going to say how many episodes because I haven't read the magazine yet, but this looks in depth at the history of the series, how it was made. Then it goes on to look at things like Danger Man. It goes to look at how a lot of these series were remastered and recreated and touched up for their Blu-ray releases. Then you've got just generally articles about The Prisoner, Sidney Cole, who was one of the great producers of ITC. Sort of a niche interest, really. If you're a youngster, you're not going to be interested. But if you remember these great old TV shows, it's highly recommended. I'll put a link down below how you can get hold of this, because I haven't read a lot of it. I just haven't had time because of other things. But I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. It looks like a gripping and interesting read for somebody who's a fan of that era. I also picked up from the same people a celebration of ITC. Now, this was from a convention, which I think was 2018, November 2018 at Elstree Studios, where many of these shows were made. And a number of the stars of these shows, or sadly most of the main stars are no longer with us, but many of those who were left in front of the camera and behind the scenes and supporting cast and so on, gathered together for an evening of celebrating ITC with sort of panels, on-stage panels. It's people who were there in the 60s and 70s, just reminiscing about what it was like to make these shows and work in the industry at that time when things were so imaginative. I mean, again, it's a soapbox thing for me. British TV is quite routine and procedural now. It's all about detectives and murders and all very well made, but it's very much one note. Back in the 60s, ITC were doing really imaginative, colourful shows that sold all across the world onto the American networks. And you get supporting actors here, Shane Rimmer, who passed away not long afterwards, who of course was a stalwart of the Jerry Anderson shows. He was the voice of Scott Tracy, who wrote Joe 90 episodes. He did loads of stuff. Madeline Smith was a doyen of the Hammer horror films. Jenny Hanley, who appeared in many ITC shows. Ian Ogilvy, who was the Saint in Return of the Saint in the 70s. Annette Andre, who was in Randall Hopkins. So there's a lot of those, supporting characters, not supporting actors like I might be said to be a supporting artist, but these are sort of solid actors who appeared in lots of these shows, and lots of behind the scenes people as well. There's actually Jamie Anderson, who's Jerry Anderson's son, who's carrying on his father's work and Anderson Entertainment, and he's on stage talking about various things as well. So it's a nice rush of nostalgia. It's 2 hours long, so it's a really nice look back at a lot of aging TV people talking about the great days of TV, and that's also available from the ITC Entertain the World people. As I said, we'll put a link down below. A couple of other things then. These arrived today as well. I ordered this. As you may know, I've been collecting some old comics, just stuff from the golden age of when I used to read comics, and I picked up this one quite cheaply. This was actually from an eBay seller in Japan, and I ordered it. I thought, this is going to take ages to come. It arrived today, and I only paid for it on Sunday. It's an Iron Man, Invincible Iron Man annual from 1977. I haven't opened it up yet, so I'll do that with you here. I think it's not in the best condition, but I say it was very cheap. And I do tend to sort of scour eBay looking for pocket money old comics, because you can get them if they're listed in a certain way. Yeah, this is actually, obviously it's 1977, very old. But again, as I've said before, it's that classic style of comics which I just love and really appreciate. It looks like great fun. The Doomsday Connection, written by Bill Mantlo. I remember that name. Art by George Tusker. Yeah, just a good old-fashioned bit of comic entertainment. 38 pages. Looks like, and obviously Iron Man is now big thanks to Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. in the MCU. And I'm looking forward to having a look at that at some point. In fact, I'll leave it out with it back. Final thing I had was something which I've been looking for a while, but it's actually quite expensive. But again, because of the way it was listed on eBay, I managed to get it for just under a tenner. One of my favourite classic TV series from the 60s is Irwin Allen's Land of the Giants, which, if you recall, is the story of a crew and passengers on a suborbital liner in 1983, in the far distant future of 1983, who pass through a strange space anomaly, a sort of space warp, and find themselves on a planet where the humans, or the human beings, or the human people, are 40 times larger than them. It's a land of the giants. Everything is 40 times larger. Ran for 2 seasons. A great show. I've got a lot of affection for this show. And what I've picked up is the soundtrack album. Now, this came out on CD. It's very hard to get for less than 30, 40 quid, but I picked up the vinyl version for £9.50 online. And again, I think it's because of the way it was listed. It was just listed as original soundtrack, TV Land of the Giants. So quite possibly people who might have been interested wouldn't have come across it. But I'm not saying I scour eBay with a fine-tooth comb, but I do tend to find these things. Again, I haven't opened this. I want to be careful with it because it hasn't been opened. I think it came out quite a while ago, so I don't quite know how the person who sold it had it sitting there pristine for so long. Basically, it's the music from the show. If you remember the theme music by John Williams, not that John Williams, I don't think, and Alexander Courage, who did the very striking theme music. And this basically is, as you see from the back, just a suite of music, the title music from the first season and some incidental music. Then there was a new title sequence and music for the second season, and that's on the second side. And this, this is nice. There's the vinyl. There's a nice little information sheet inside about the show. Nice little article about the music on the back with some photographs. And here we have the disc itself. Nice piece of pristine vinyl. On the vinyl, historically, I had vinyl for years. I would just disc jockey for years with vinyl, so I have a soft spot for vinyl, and I always feel a certain thrill in picking up a new piece of vinyl. I said vinyl several times then. Make no excuses for that. So that's the Land of the Giants original soundtrack, which I should be playing very soon. Right, that's my pickups for the last few days. Apologies, this video has gone on a bit longer than I thought. But I thought I'd do one because there are a few new bits and pieces which I thought might be of interest. I hope they have been. Right, hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe if you're new here. I do loads of stuff like this. Coming up very soon is another retro film review, which I'm going to be recording next and uploading in the next day or so. Tomorrow, Thursday, I'm off to see Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I will be doing a cinema visit and review for, and that will be up tomorrow, Thursday. So plenty of stuff coming on this channel. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, just like and subscribe. That's all you need to do. Just press that subscribe button, get those numbers up. It'll make me very happy. So that's me for now. Till I see you next time. Don't forget, keep taking the stuff.